Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Wellness Blueprints. I'm Jess Milner, and thank you so much for coming to Nourish Your Roots with me. Today, I want to talk about how we can hack our hormones, ladies, by just being out in nature. So, this is something that is not, it's not like some crazy pants thing. This is a totally natural thing, and it's like super easy to be able to incorporate into your life. So, we went for a hike on Mother's Day. I wanted to go for a hike. My husband found a spot that was not far from our house at all that the kids would be able to handle. So we basically went, we hiked, it was rather flat, through this forest. And then we kind of went down to where there was a lake and we're kind of surrounded by some ridges. So it was really pretty. And as we were getting there, like, getting closer and closer to the water, suddenly there was like this stream coming down from above, and it got really, really loud. And it was this like cute little stream. So there was like a little mini waterfall thing in there. So of course I'm like, okay, guys, I got to take a little like couple second video. So everybody be quiet because I want to get the sound of that, rushing peaceful water in there. I've done it with like waterfalls and stuff from afar too, or up close, depending on like where you are. Like I have one in Yellowstone, which was like super far away. But then we have some from other hikes and stuff where we're like right up on like a waterfall or something like that. And I did go ahead and put that into a social media post today because just listening to water in nature like that for 20 seconds is going to reduce your cortisol levels. So it's like, oh my gosh. And then, of course, things like, staring at your phone, looking at your inbox or something is going to jack it up by like 500%. Not cool. But just listening to the water rushing is actually helping your cortisol. And okay, so, cortisol, it's like that hormone that like goes after and messes with like all the other hormones. It really does. It just messes with all of it. So, modern life, perimenopause, it creates this like energetic static, if you will. And nature could really help us break that up and get that smoothed out and everything. Okay. Because nature, it's not just nice or pretty, it's actually medicine too. And you don't have to like ingest it or rub it all over you necessarily to get the effects of it, and depending on what you're going for. So for what we're talking about today, you don't have to rub anything all over yourself. So cortisol, when your cortisol is all out of whack, it can really mess with other hormones too. Like insulin, it can lead to more insulin resistance, and you've got PCOS and endometriosis often follow with that. It's going to lower your progesterone levels, which is part of those other things that I'm talking about as well. But basically, you've got cholesterol. It starts with cholesterol at the top. That's right. We need cholesterol to make hormones, all of it. So we got the cholesterol at the top, and then that turns into pregnenolone, and then it will either go to progesterone or DHEA and filter down from there. So when it goes to the progesterone side, then that is going to convert into cortisol. So it's, they're both, that's really going to, if your cortisol is going insane, your progesterone is going to be affected. So, and then the other thing, ladies, when we start going through perimenopause and menopause, we've got all these issues, right? With like estrogen is tanking, all of our hormones are doing all kinds of wacky flips and stuff like that, because that's what happens during this time. And actually, our adrenals are meant to pick up a bunch of that slack, but our adrenals are exhausted, and cortisol is a big contributing factor in that. They kind of like, it's a cycle, they affect each other, if you will. Okay. So, getting into nature can be one of the ways that we can really hack our hormones, okay, in a good, positive way. So, forest bathing is basically a fancy way to say spending time in nature, right? So, this will decrease stress, it's going to decrease inflammation, and it's going to have a positive influence on your estrogen metabolism. So, this is a really awesome thing for menopause and perimenopause, excuse me, to be spending time in nature. Because you definitely want to decrease, stress levels, cortisol. There you go. So just being out in nature, looking at a tree, stop and smell the roses. It'll help you be more present. It will help you, connect with the earth more. It will reduce your stress. These things are actually true. Just looking at a tree will reduce your stress. Like you can hug it, you can go up and be all sweet with it and everything, too. And that's just going to increase the amount of stress that you decrease. But I mean, just looking at a tree. So, I'm sitting here in front of a window. I can see hundreds of trees from where I am. It'd be better if I was outside with them. But I can see, just looking at the trees, just looking at the flowers is going to reduce your stress. So there's definitely something to be said about this, about spending time out in nature. So, even if you live in the city, you can get to places, where you can enjoy your nature. And I'll talk a little bit more about that too. So, natural light, of course, is another one. We talk about circadian rhythm a lot. You want to make sure you're getting sunlight on your face and on your eyes in the morning time. And this is going to help with your melatonin production because you want your melatonin production in the evening so that you get good sleep. But in addition to sleep, it's also these melatonin will also have an effect on your female reproductive hormones and things like that. So, and your fertility and everything like that. So and even like the timing of your period. So, if you are like on your phone all night, melatonin's not really coming into play and you're having trouble sleeping, you're not getting the sleep that you want, it can affect the timing of your periods. Just like when you're really stressed out, you're not sleeping a lot or, you're not sleeping very well because you're planning this, that, or the other thing. We have stressful periods in our lives, but then, your cycle like doesn't start it, like you'll either start way too early or it'll start way too late. And it might freak you out a little bit, but that's what happens, and this can play a huge role in that too. So, and in terms of water, so we talked about the sound, how it would just reduce the cortisol to just listen to the rushing sound, like, the babbling brook, and I'm like having the visions of Phoebe trying to get Monica to fall asleep by talking about and the babbling brook, and then she just had to pee. But she was trying to reduce her cortisol. I mean, come on. I mean, Phoebe knew it was up, right? So when you are in nature and there is water around, there's going to be a whole bunch of negative ions, which are really, really helpful. They're going to reduce inflammation. They're going to increase your mood. They're going to reduce those mood swings and things like that. The smell of the rain, if you really love that smell, that's that ions, and we are drawn to it because it's something that we need to be in contact with. And it's really awesome when we come in contact with the earth with our bare feet, what would be considered like electrical grounding, because, that contact, we're electrical beings. So getting that contact in and that grounding. And that's probably one of like the most commonly known ways for grounding is, just take off your socks and shoes and go walk around in the dirt outside. If you have dogs, watch your step or deer. But in the forest, we're talking. I'm sorry, I'm sometimes a little ADHD, so I bounce back and forth. But talking more about trees there. So trees, they emit phytoncides, which actually, I mean, they're meant to keep like pests and stuff off of the trees. But when we breathe them in, it's going to reduce stress and inflammation. I know I sound like a broken record, but these are good things. So it's going to do that, but it's also going to increase our body's ability to produce natural killer cells. So it's amazing for immune system. It's amazing even for things like, cancer treatments and stuff. People will be told to go spend time in nature. And this is a really good thing to do because whatever else that you're doing to help with your chronic issue or your cancer, this is going to be great too, because we want to be able to produce more of those things. So that's pretty amazing. So when you go out and you're on your trail, you're just out in out near trees, and you just take a deep breath in, and it feels really good. You're breathing some of those things in, and it is benefiting your body. So I know I moved to the mountains a while back because my husband and I we wanted to be in the mountains. So I want you to understand that there are places like everywhere that you are on Earth, there are equal type of places. So I'm going to talk about altitude with oxygen, that kind of thing. But it's not like you can't get these kinds of things from other places because every place that you go to, I mean, you can get grounded on the beach, you can get grounded on a mountain, you can get grounded at a lake, and grounded at the ocean, um, there's so many different options. So wherever you are, whatever nature you're in, just rock it, okay? Because that's where you're at. So embrace it, and your body will thank you for that. But if you've ever heard of people like training for things at a higher altitude, it actually it brings more oxygen to the muscles when you're at a higher altitude, and it increases your red blood cell production. So that's why it does that. So if you're a little bit higher up, then that can be better overall for your hormone production and things like that as well, and for your muscles. And we've been talking about protein and muscles, and we need to be doing some strength training and making sure we're getting enough protein. So that can be helpful for that too. So, I mean, we got like hot flashes and mood swings, and my hip hurts, and my skin's doing weird stuff. And your weight is doing weird things. So some tips here, okay? Because it's sometimes it can be a little difficult. Like even for me, like here I am, crunchy mama on a mountain, and sometimes it can be kind of difficult to like break free of what I'm trying to do inside to get my bones outside so that I can get grounded. Okay, so I mean, so you want to have some morning sun. So open up your door, open up your window, and just kind of like stick your face out there a little bit. I know when I notice that the sun is up, because I do put mask on my eyes when I'm sleeping. And that's just because I'm somebody, I need it to be dark and quiet when I'm sleeping. So I'll pull that up when I notice that, like the sun is up because I want the sun to wake me up. And pretty much it does anyway, even through that. And we have an outdoor cat and he will come to my bedroom door and meow in the morning. So I might let him in and then, I'm getting a little bit of that outside on me in the morning before I'm really like doing anything else, like before I've picked up my phone or anything like that. So in the midday, you want to do some kind of midday grounding. So, maybe you're going to go outside for a bit. Maybe you're going to, if it's cold outside, maybe you don't, I mean, maybe you want to go build a snowman or something like that, which would be awesome. You don't have to spend a ton of time out there though. Depending on, you need to adjust what you're doing, for the seasons because it's not always going to be appropriate. If it's pouring down rain and hailing, you're going to be like, I'm not doing that. Okay, well, I don't blame you. Neither would I. So, if it's snowing, if it's wintertime, I mean, you can take some boiling water outside and pour it on a spot and then put your bare feet right there. I've done that before. It works. Get your feet into that ground for, 15, 20 minutes. So if that's something that you want to do, you can totally do that, or you can just go and like be in the snow, take a walk in the snow. You don't have to be out there all day building snowmen like Elsa, but being out there for a little bit will help to ground you too. And then in the evening, you want to have some more nature connection. In the summer, last summer, we had a problem with yellow jackets, and those guys are jerks. But we do like to eat outside on the porch when we can, when the weather allows for it. So if you eat outside, or maybe if you're enjoying your morning coffee or tea, or your afternoon coffee or tea, or probably not afternoon coffee, but if you're enjoying something, you can go sit outside to enjoy it, and that's easily going to ground you. Go out there and like read your mail or whatever. If you have a dog, that's pretty simple. You can take the dog for a walk, and there you go. And they will thank you for that too. So, I mean, just start with like, 5 to 10 minutes a day or something here and there to get yourself into this. Don't beat yourself up when you don't do well with it. And of course, we're going to have days where we're going to do better with it and be like, you know what, I'm just going to go for a full on walk. I'm going to go out in nature and do this, or I'm meeting some friends and we're going to like go kayaking or just like kind of sit and put our feet in the water somewhere or something, great. So, start wherever is comfortable for you. And remember, this isn't like some sort of alternative health treatment or something like that. This is absolutely foundational because it's nature and we are part of nature. We are natural. We are natural beings. So, that's what you want to do. And, so yeah, see if maybe just like having your morning coffee or morning tea outside. Sometimes I'll like open a lot of the time actually I will open the door in the garage when I'm doing my lifting sesh, just because like I want to get the air in there and everything, and that helps with that too and really brings in the breeze and everything like that. But you can go outside and play with your kids or go outside and play with your dog. You don't have to be out there for super long. But I do remember, years ago when we got our dog Iris, who is going to be 9. Oh my goodness, what's today? Okay. She is on the 24th. She's going to be 9, my sweet girl. But when we first got her, one of the things that I said out loud, I was like, well, I'm really liking this because it's forcing us to get up and go outside every so often because somebody's got to take the dog out. And when I would go to take her out, the kids would come with me. And sometimes it wasn't nice weather and that's okay, but sometimes it was. And that just made us go outside. And, depending on, if the type of weather and everything, maybe we just went outside barefoot and took her out in the backyard and whatever. Maybe we didn't, but it has you get outside and then you are around trees, you are around flowers, you are around these things that just looking at are going to reduce your stress. So we do want to reduce stress because we want to reduce the cortisol, which cortisol is really what's like throwing these things off and not allowing our adrenals to pick up the slack when everything else is naturally starting to decrease inside of us, ladies, because we're naturally decreasing the amount of estrogen that we are producing. And it's a natural process and everything, but it can really like wreak havoc on us, and that is a lot of the time, just because of modern life. And we've created this energetic static. And this is one of the best ways really to put that back, to get that back in the middle there. So, it's not just that, people who spend more time outside in nature are better physically fit and everything. I mean, maybe they might be because they're out there doing stuff like that all the time, but they are typically generally more happy, and their hormones are doing much better just because they're spending the time out in nature. And probably wasn't even like the reason why. I mean, we love nature, we love our hikes and all of our outdoorsy stuff for whatever reason that we do, and that's all fine and good. And then this is the added bonus there. So maybe you hadn't made the connection yet, so there you go. So if you would like to download my daily energy alignment guide, this is a free gift to you. It's a free download. You can go to go.deeprootedwellnessid.com/daily-energy. Okay. And download that. That is my free gift to you. If you would like to get my full emotional balance toolkit for just $7, you're going to go to go.deeprootedwellnessid.com/balance, and you can grab that and keep a copy of it with you when you go out places. So, and please give me some feedback and let me know how you like these downloads and if they are helping you, because I know that they sure help me. And actually, most people who are downloading them are singing their praises. So it's a good thing. Let me know what your favorite way is to go outside and get grounded. I know for me, one of my favorite things about hiking, especially out here, because there's so many pine trees and stuff. I'll have my hiking shoes on and we'll be just walking a trail somewhere, but it's so piney. So it kind of has like a Christmas tree sort of a smell, of course, in the forest. But the ground underneath of us, because of all of like the dirt and the pine needles, it feels very soft. So underneath my feet, it feels soft, almost like, like I'm walking on like a spongy, springy ground rather than something hard and flat that we're normally more used to. So that's one of my favorite things about being out there. That's something that I notice almost every time. So get out there in nature, get grounded, and hack those hormones, ladies. We can do this. Perimenopause and menopause got nothing on us. We're going to stay happy and healthy no matter what. You stick with me, okay? All right. Have a great week. Bye for now.